book, The Billboard, a play about abortion, and you're tuned in to Rolling Out, Meet the Author.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Malik Brown, here for Rolling Out, Meet the Author, and today I have the pleasure to speak with Miss Natalie Moore. She is the author of the book, The Billboard. Miss Natalie, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Malik. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having the time and speak with us about this book, and also the play. So you got a lot of things going on with this. I like this. So for people that may not know, what The Billboard is about, never heard of the book. Let the people know, what is this book about and what is it centered around?
It's centered around abortion on the south side of Chicago. So most plays are not published as books. Did you hear that alert?
Yeah.
Let me close out email and start. Okay. It normally doesn't do that. Okay. The Billboard is a play, and most plays aren't published as books, but this is published by Haymarket. And it's a play about abortion centered in Englewood, a Black neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. It's also set in a city council race, and centered in a Black women's health clinic. And the book has some extra content in it. It has a Q&A with Toni Bond, who is one of the foremothers of reproductive justice. There's a foreword by Imani Perry. There's an introduction from me laying out like how this was in the news, and what inspired me to write this. And then an afterword by Jane Sachs. So yeah, that's the gist of it. And it will be staged in Chicago from June 23rd to July 17th. So if you can't make it to Chicago, you can also buy virtual tickets from 16th Street Theater.
That's great. That's great. I like that. So was your plan for this always the book and the play? Like how did that process go for you?
The plan was to write a play, and that's what I was doing. And then I talked to someone over at Haymarket, a friend of mine, who was curating a series, and he was like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And I was like, "Oh, this." He's like, "Oh, let me read it." And then it turned into, we should publish this. And Haymarket felt like it was a cultural piece and that it read well. And they're a nonprofit publisher, and they do sometimes publish plays. So then I thought, well, what extra content can I add so you're not only reading a script?
So for you, was it harder writing a play or was it harder writing a book? or could they kind of go hand in hand?
They're the same. I mean, what you see on the stage is going to be the script. So the play inside the book is written like a script. So when I was writing, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to be a book. Like, I was writing a play, and this play is published as a book.
Okay, gotcha. So I would love to know, why The Billboard? Like, why did you create this book?
In 2011, there was the beginning of what I was noticing, the trend of anti-abortion billboards going up in Black neighborhoods, targeting Black women. And I covered it as a reporter for WBEZ, the NPR member station in Chicago. And then in 2018, and this started happening around the country. And in 2018, it happened in Dallas. The same guy who was in Chicago put up a billboard in Dallas. And these billboards would say things like, abortion is genocide, or, the most dangerous place for a Black child is his mother's womb. But what happened in Dallas is that a Black women's center put up their own billboard that said abortion is self-care, hashtag trust Black women. And it had a picture of 3 Black women smiling. And that's not the kind of messaging people have seen around abortion. There's been stigma, there's been shame, keep it private. And also, self-care is a marketing term. We think about going to the spa, getting your nails done, drinks with your girls. But self-care is a lot deeper than that. So my play is not a reenactment of Dallas because I live in Chicago, but I also live in a place that's known for its politics and, vote early and often. So I thought, why not have someone running for city council put this up and try to link Black population laws to abortion, which is of course not true, but I wanted to tease out some of these intraracial conversations that happen in Black communities and also highlight the misogyny that we don't always talk about. So this guy running for city council, he's a pro-Black nationalist, but he has a lot of blind spots when it comes to gender. And so this clinic in Chicago, this fictitious clinic puts up their own billboard. And like Dallas, the self-care billboard becomes more controversial because even pro-choice people are like, whoa, wait a minute. What? Why are they smiling on this billboard? What's going on?
As a Black woman, seeing those type of billboards, how does that make you feel? How does that make the Black female community feel?
Those are tough messages to see, even if you are not for abortion. Blaming Black women is very harsh. And when it happened in Chicago, there wasn't the same kind of response, but I don't think that it gained much traction. I don't think that it turned people against Black women, but there's some evangelicals who are white who believe you should make babies, to keep the population going. And then for a subsection, this is not by any means representing all Black men or all Black women or, Black community, that, okay, well, Black women, it's your responsibility to keep the race going, and abortion is wrong. And we have to uplift the race by having children. So, the play also gets into what reproductive justice means, which is different from reproductive rights. Rights are your legal rights to have an abortion, and reproductive justice links all of these issues together: healthcare disparities, access to abortion, to birth control. Black women do have just nationally disproportionate rates, have abortion at higher rates. But Black women also have a lot of other health outcomes that are higher. And it's not because Black women are loose or any of these other stereotypes. It's, do they have access to reproductive care? Do they have access to general health care? So the reproductive justice framework links all of these things together. And a part of it is also, the right to have a child, the right not to have a child, and also the right to have a child with support and to raise the child the way that you want. So, you think about healthcare, maternal healthcare, child, does your child have access to healthcare? So all of those things are linked, and it's more movement based and justice based. And reproductive justice actually started in Chicago. I mentioned that I have a Q&A with Tony Bond in the book. So in 1994, there was a pro-choice conference in Illinois, and a dozen Black women got together and said, you know what, there's too much emphasis on abortion, and also abortion as a right, but not about the access. And we know that there are barriers to healthcare, and that would include abortion.
And it's crazy because I don't know, it just seems like you're hearing a lot about the abortion and things like that recently, like the past few months. So do you kind of feel like this book is like right on time, when talking about these type of issues?
When I started writing this in 2018, I thought it was a necessary piece of art to inspire a conversation. And my hope was that people left the theater with more questions than they had going in. And I had been seeing that there were lots of states that were restricting abortion. I didn't think that we would be where we are now, but by the time the Supreme Court agreed to hear the Mississippi case that's at the heart, that, the opinion that was leaked by Justice Samuel Alito, I had been saying, when this play is out, Roe will be overturned, because the handwriting was on the wall. No one expected a draft opinion to be leaked. And now the discourse, I mean, it's everywhere now.
So you're a journalist as well. So, so you're probably reporting, you're probably seeing the reports and everything like this, writing about it and everything like that. Did you feel like it was more impactful to write a play and more so of just doing the journalist side?
That's a great question. So I write nonfiction books, and I wanted to try something different. And believe it or not, I took a playwriting class. I wouldn't play myself trying this new genre. And what I got from it was like, oh, I can do this, because there are a lot of similarities in writing audio feature scripts as it is to playwriting, except one is fiction and one is nonfiction, but you're writing for the ear. And I have that training. So yeah, I had done some abortion coverage here, because Illinois has some of the strongest protections around abortion rights in the country. And as an example, but it looks like when Roe is overturned, the closest place for a Louisianan to get an abortion will be in Illinois.
Insane. Okay, wow. So just the whole process of the play, were you able to, pick the people that you wanted in the play, or was that somebody else's?
No, the director does that.
Okay. So you didn't have to do the hard part.
No, and we are in rehearsals, and the thing is, it is collaborative. I did choose the director.
Okay.
I believed in her, and then as a playwright, you have to let go and let them have their vision. But she got what I was doing, as well as the dramaturg, who is like a literary manager who helps you. And through the process, because the 16th Street Theater invested in me, we were doing table reads along the way to workshop. So when I was a third done, 2/3 done, the director wasn't on until the first draft was done. And then we did some more workshopping. So I'm going to my very first rehearsal today to meet the cast. And it's also special because my youngest stepdaughter got cast as Kayla, the 19-year-old in it. And it's not nepotism, probably sounds like it, but she auditioned on her own and got the part. So, but I think that because we've had different actors read, and even though I didn't pick, I believe we're on the same page about what works and what doesn't work.
Gotcha. So, was there anybody that you kind of reached out to, any mentors or, any instructors, advisors that you kind of reached out to when making this play?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who were
Well, my friend Nakia Grayson, who's a midwife in Memphis and works for a place called Choices. So they do everything. And as I had to read a lot of books, because I didn't know what reproductive justice was as a definition. And when I saw the billboard in Dallas, I was like, whoa, smiling. And now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But I, challenged myself. And so I would call her for technical stuff like, okay, so what does Title 10 mean? Stuff that just so my knowledge was deep when I was writing, because you don't want people who do this work to say that is not realistic, even though most people, won't view it on that level. I read Killing the Black Body by Dorothy Roberts. I read work by Loretta Ross, another foremother of reproductive justice. I took the a playwriting class at Chicago Dramatist and had a great teacher there, Marcia Estelle. And then I let literary people read it. The novelist Nami Moon, who's also a professor at Northwestern University and teaches plays in her class, she read it and gave me lots of notes. So yes, I got tons of feedback to help me with my own process and understanding the issues, and then the writing part. And then the dramaturg, Kamisha Khan, would say things like, okay, well, this person's saying this on page 50. You have to establish something on page 10 for them to get to this point. And, you know, as a journalist, you'll appreciate this. I know you probably have had editors say when you turn in a story, well, do you have somebody saying this? And you're like, no, the person didn't say that. But in fiction, you can just make the person say whatever it is you want.
Throughout the process, did it ever become heavy on you, you know, writing a play like this?
No. I didn't want to embarrass myself. I wanted it to be good. And because I was getting feedback and workshopping along the way, that gave me confidence. And because it was a new genre, I wanted to, you know, make sure I could do it. But you know, one friend of mine was like, "You're so brave," because abortion's a hot topic, and I didn't feel that way. I get it, and now that we're in this moment, perhaps it's braver than I thought that it would be. But I think being a journalist prepares you so well for public feedback, the immediacy. Yeah.
Do you feel like this play is kind of like a informative type of thing? You know, some people, you know, just go to plays, you know, just to maybe enjoy things like that. But I mean, even in the book, you know, you talk about, you have Q&As. I mean, you're talking about something informative. Do you kind of feel like this book is kind of like something that could like kind of give people you know, just information that they probably didn't know about or things like that?
Possibly. And I think art can be a more digestible way to process issues rather than, you know, concepts, rather than reading it, you know, academically. But I think it's also compelling. Like you don't want your play to be a lecture. You don't want people to feel like you want it to be entertaining. So I think it's funny at times because people laugh and there's richness in the characters. And the play isn't about debating pro-choice or pro-life. It's, you know, politics, city council, urban angst, who gets to speak for disinvested Black communities. There's a lot of layers that are there to complicate the story.
Definitely. You know, wrapping up, Miss Natalie, you know, for somebody that, you know, has went to the play, well, the play hasn't been out, but when the play starts and everything, or, you know, they read the book, what's the one thing that you want that person to take away from the whole experience?
As I was saying earlier, that they leave with more questions than they came in with. And I think some people just may be entertained because plays are supposed to be entertaining. And I think that people can experience the work on multiple levels depending on who they are.
Definitely. I want to ask you know, a question for you. So this is Meet the Author. So we want to, you know, try to get a little bit more about you. So if there was an author that you could pick to write your biography, who would it be? And why?
Probably, I'm going to pick my friend, not because she's my friend, Salamisha Tillett, who just won the Pulitzer last month for criticism in the New York Times. She takes really good care in writing about Black issues and Black women specifically. So I think that she couldn't, yeah, I would say her.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Miss Natalie. This is a book, a play that I think many people should go and read and see. I think you're really tackling a lot of issues that are being talked about in today's society. And we appreciate you for coming on and speak with us. This was great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Always. Before you go, let the people know where they can find the book, everything about the play, details and things of that nature, and when they can find you on social media.
Okay, so on Instagram, I'm Southside Lois Lane. On Twitter, I'm Natalie Y. Moore. You can buy the book wherever you like to buy books. I prefer independent bookstores as opposed to Amazon, but you can get it everywhere. And the play, again, is running June 23rd through July 17th. And it's at 16th Street Theater. And if you're not coming to Chicago, there are virtual performances.
You heard it here first, guys. Make sure you guys get the book. Make sure you can still see the play even if you're not in Chicago. So make sure you guys check everything out. Miss Natalie, like I said again, thank you so much for coming on and speak with us about this amazing thing that you have going on, and many, many blessings to you.
Thank you.
Always. Thank you guys for listening. This is Rolling Now Meet the Author with Malik Brown and my special guest, Natalie Moore, and we are out.